What is up, guys? This is HogeezHoagies, and I'm back with another video for you all. Today I'm going to be continuing the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe and actually playing that new content that I said I would play a few months ago. But I would just like to point out, I booted up the game and it asked me to set the time, which I think it did the first time I booted up the game. But I wondered why it was asking a second time. But I'm like, whatever.
This is the story of a man named Stanley. Stanley worked for a company in a big building where he was employee number 427. Employee number 427's job was simple. He sat at his desk in room 427 and he pushed buttons on a keyboard. Orders came to him through a monitor on his desk, telling him what buttons to push, how long to push them, and in what order. This is what employee 427 did every day of every month of every year. And although others might have considered it soul-rending, Stanley relished every moment that the orders came in, as though he had been made exactly for this job. And Stanley was happy. And then one day, something very peculiar happened. Something that would forever change Stanley. Something he would never quite forget. He had been at his desk for nearly an hour when he realized that not one single order had arrived on the monitor for him to follow. No one had showed up to give him instructions, call a meeting, or even say hi. Never in all his years at the company had this happened, this complete isolation. Something was very clearly wrong. Shocked, frozen solid, Stanley found himself unable to move for the longest time. But as he came to his wits and regained his senses, he got up from his desk and stepped out of his office.
Well, you can't see it because my webcam's in the way. Damn it. I got an achievement. It said, welcome back. But yeah, I figured it had been too long since I last played the game, and I needed to get back to it. But when I ended up booting it up and it asked me for the time, just like last time, I'm like, okay, I'll put in the correct time. And it said, wow, can I just say, I'm so proud of you for putting in the correct time. Most people don't even do that.
Co-workers were gone. What could it mean?
They just leave it.
Stanley decided to go to the
there.
meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
I'm like, wow, that's crazy. The game said, you know what? Next time you boot up the game, set it any time you want. Just pick your favorite time. You earned it. I'm like, damn. This game makes me smile. Anyway, new content?
Oh, new content? What does that mean, new content?
What does that mean? We're going to the new content. Whatever that means. Just in case you weren't aware, the end is never the end, 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 is never the end. Is never the end, is never the end.
Hello, and thank you for playing the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe. As you may know, the Stanley Parable was a video game released in 2013 on home computers.
Was it really?
After receiving critical and commercial success, it was expanded upon in 2022 with the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe, a reimagining of the game for consoles and home computers.
Wow.
The Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe features exciting new content that broadens and expands the world of the Stanley Parable,
More
delighting
game?
audiences the world over. Please, step inside and see what thrilling new adventures await in the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe.
Whoa.
Oh, well, this sounds delightful. I'm very excited to see the thrilling new Ultra Deluxe content.
So am I. It's a bit messy back here.
Okay, so far it's an elevator.
Nothing special yet.
But I'm sure it's just the beginning of a mesmerizing adventure.
I'm sure it is. Is the elevator gonna...
Is it broken? What's going on here? Should we be moving somewhere?
It's a cage.
Oh,
I'm stuck.
There we go.
Oh, okay.
All right, finally, at long last, it's on to the new content. I've never been more ready. Let's do it.
New content. New content. New content.
I have to say, initial impressions of Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe, mostly tedious. It's as if Oh, okay. Let's see the content. Give me the content, Stanley.
I'll give you the content, man. The jump circle.
All right, let's see. It's the jump circle?
The jump circle. I can jump? I can jump. There was a whole achievement about me not being able to jump, but I can jump. That's crazy. I'm not allowed to. I'm not allowed to. I'm out of jumps. I'm not allowed to jump anymore. That's unfortunate.
Is that it? Surely that's not all the new content. There has to be something else, right? Goodness. Another elevator.
I was allowed to
Stanley,
jump 36
I
times.
have to say, initial impressions of this game are not positive.
I have to agree.
It's just elevators and jumping. Is this what passes for exciting new content?
It is
If
new
this
content, and it was
then
exciting.
I could just read you the whole dictionary. There's 20 hours of new content right there.
That's true.
Hell, I could counter 30 trillion. You could put that on the box. The Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe, now with over 1,000 hours of new content. And oh wait, there's more. Very good. Yes. I knew there had to be something else. Let's see it. I'm ready for whatever it is.
So am I, man.
That's it? Oh, you've got to be kidding me. You see, Stanley? This is what happens when greedy video game developers with no respect for their fan base rush a cheap expansion to market for no reason other than to make an easy dollar. And don't get me started on the level of craftsmanship that's gone into it. In fact, I'm looking right now at the game's achievements, and it's hard to believe one of them actually says, "Test achievement, please ignore." What
does.
quality assurance department signed off on this? I'm infuriated and I'm offended, and I intend to find these people on Twitter and hold them personally accountable. It's my fault.
You're gonna
Stanley.
call them out
I
on
built up
Twitter?
too much anticipation around the new content, I'm afraid. They
No,
could
it's
never
not
have
your
lived
fault.
up to such expectations.
It's not your
If you're
fault,
still with me,
narrator.
why don't we just reset the game and we'll try to get back to what the Stanley Parable is really about? No frills, no gimmicks. Just you and me having a great time together like always.
You know what?
What do you say, friend?
I'd enjoy that, narrator. But I got to jump 36 times. Some don't look right here. I'm inclined to believe something broke, narrator.
Psst! Stanley! Come over here! In the vent! I want to show you something!
But there's a door.
Oh, you don't want to see the cool surprise I made for you? Well, fine. You're a dork anyway, so who cares?
Hey, fuck off! I'll come into.
Oh, never mind. You're not a dork.
You know, fuck you. What? No comment? Fine. I can crouch now? Still crouching, apparently. What is my surprise, Mr. Narrator? What is my beautiful new surprise?
Okay, you remember how cheap and unsatisfying the new Ultra Deluxe content turned out to be? Well, it got me thinking about the past, and how much better the Stanley Parable used to be. So I made something special and tucked it away here where the game's developers won't find it. Just our little secret. Take a look.
The hell did you do, narrator?
I call it the Memory Zone. It's where I've been storing all my favorite memories so I can relive the peak experiences of my life whenever I want. Experiences like the launch of the Stanley Parable on PC.
Huh.
You see, Stanley, doesn't the memory zone remind you of how wonderful Stanley Parable was before it was sullied with a cheap re-release? Remember back in October of 2013 when the game originally launched? Back then, video games had integrity. Back then, it all meant something. Oh, the waste.
Cargo. Cardugo, I'm sure. It's a Stanley Parable. Ah, 2013, when the Stanley Parable was released. The Stanley Parable. Wow. Hey, it's the Go Outside achievement. Damn. It's the guy. It's Stanley. Wow. I can't sit down on the bench. Fuck you.
And over here is where I keep reviews of the Stanley Parable. Like this stunning triumph of games journalism, 10 out of 10 from Destructoid.com. James Stephanie Sterling writes, and I quote, "Where so many games that aspire to be more than games end up less than any form of art, Stanley Parable strives and then succeeds to be every game ever created." Did you hear that, Stanley? Every game ever created. That's how grand and all-encompassing the original Stanley Parable was. It was literally every game ever created. It was Skyrim.
It was Persona 3?
It was all of them. And now, it's nothing. It's no games at all. It isn't even the Stanley Parable anymore.
So I've played Persona 3?
Now, a lifeless husk with an hour of new elevator content.
Tacy. The Stanley Parable said I've played Persona 3. Apparently, because Stanley Parable is Persona 3. It's also Skyrim, and literally every game ever, apparently. Yeah, it's so cool. Wow. Memory zone maintenance. It's the Stanley Parable. The original remake. That's Stanley. It's the Stanley Parable. Wow. People play games because of what they can do inside them, and your game is very good at letting them know they can't do anything. Literally anything.
Here's another moving passage, this time from GameSpot.com. The Stanley Parable is both a richly stimulating commentary on the nature of choice in games, and one that offers some of the most enjoyable, surprising, and rewarding choices I've ever been confronted with in a game. 9 out of 10. Don't you get it, Stanley? The game was perfect. It didn't need anything else. It didn't need new content. It just needed to be left alone, to spend the rest of time collecting dust in the hallowed hall of beloved video game memories.
You know what? I agree. I never should have played the Stanley Parable. I never should have played the Persona 3 or Skyrim.
These
I
were
never should have
simpler
played any of
times,
them.
Stanley. But I wouldn't give to go back, to have it all over again. Wait, hang on. I don't recall this part of the memory zone before. What's this? What's down here?
Drinks, apparently.
Oh no. Oh God, no. Stanley, it's a collection of reviews from Steam, the online video game distributor. I haven't looked at these in years.
Steam
I can't
reviews?
even imagine what's been collecting down here. Surely these reviews were glowing as well, weren't they?
Steam reviews. No!
Honestly, I could not be bothered to play this game to full completion. The narrator is obnoxious and unfunny, with
What?
his humor and dialogue proving to be more irritating than entertaining. Unfunny! I'm not trying to be funny. I'm trying to make a serious work of art. I suppose I could write up a handful of gags to insert into the Stanley Parable, but the game is already such a densely layered web of profound philosophical insights
Hey, here's a recommended
that I can't
one.
even imagine where I'd have the room to stick them.
No, narrator, look, it's okay. I found a recommended. Found a good one. The day is saved. We found one good review. Never mind. We found two more bad ones. It offsets the good. That's unfortunate. Any other good ones? No? And anything? No? Oh, hey, we found a recommended. Let's go. Look at that.
Okay, let's see what this one says. While the idea for the game is good, for someone who prefers non-linear games, this preachiness gets annoying fast. Preachy? Stanley? I'm not preachy, am I?
Not at all.
You can tell me if I'm preachy. Honestly, you can. Oh, goodness. This is actually quite shocking for me. I always, well, to be honest, I had always thought of the game's dialogue as being rather terse to begin with. You can't know how much fluff I cut from the game to get it to feel as light and airy as it... Well, I always thought it did. But maybe it wasn't.
No, it was.
Yeah.
I promise,
What
narrator.
an awful memory to have to hold on to.
I promise
These
it was a
black
good
marks
game.
on my otherwise unimpeachable track record.
It's okay.
I
Look
feel
at the recommended.
Like a failure. Like I let
No.
these people down.
Narrator.
Perhaps the Stanley Parable isn't quite
There's
as
another
sterling
one.
as
It's
I always
recommended.
remembered.
Oh. Narrator, I'm sorry. It's recommended. I recommended the Stanley. You know what? As soon as I'm... There's another one! As soon as I'm done here, the narrator, I'm gonna review the game on Steam. I'm gonna give it recommended.
What's this one got to say? You constantly have to stop doing anything so the narrator can catch up with his long-winded explanations of what's happening. I wish there was a skip button. A skip button? Well, yes. Yes, I think we can do that. If I'm truly too preachy, then maybe letting you skip ahead for just a moment, surely it couldn't
No,
hurt.
narrator.
Not if it means we can strike these negative reviews from the record. Only positive reviews of
Narrator,
the Stanley
no.
Parable. That's my motto today, and it's always been my motto. I'd do anything for the customer, Stanley. Yes, a skip button we
Narrator,
shall
no.
have.
We don't need a skip button, I promise. Narrator, no.
And here it is. Go ahead and give it a shot.
No.
I'll pop you forward in time so that the second my incessant droning starts to bore you, with just the push of a button, you'll have zipped right past it.
Nope.
It's what the players have been asking for.
Nope.
And I'm very proud to have delivered.
Nope.
No more listening to me rambling on and on and on.
Nope.
No. The Stanley Parable is a game for
It's
the
a game
people.
for the
And
me.
if the people want
And I want to
silence,
hear
then
you.
by goodness, that's what they're going to get.
No.
Well, don't sit around waiting for me to shut up. Go ahead and make me shut up.
I don't want
Here,
to.
We'll pretend that I've just begun an interminable monologue.
I want to hear
and
it.
goes
I want to hear
something like
all of
this.
it.
The story and the choices, or what have you, and therefore by becoming it is, so on and so forth, until inevitably we all until the end of time, at which time everything all at once. So now you see, blah 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 blah.
I'm listening.
Blah, 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 blah.
We've eaten too much and it can't be just yet. No, no, until 245. That the logic of elimination working backwards, the deduction therefore becomes
think you're
impossible to
breaking.
manufacture. It went on for nearly 10,000 years.
Really?
Until just yesterday.
Really?
Here and there, forward and back, and never a moment before lunchtime.
Interesting.
Can't
Why
be.
does it?
It's the only thing
Why do I
there
feel
is.
like I'm
How many
listening to the
billions
Winnie-
left
Winnie the
until so
Pooh?
much more than forever ago. Which
Why?
is why I say... the story and the choices, or what?
What?
And therefore, by becoming it is.
That's
So on and
crazy.
so forth, until inevitably, we all until the end of time, at which time everything all at once. So, now you see,
I
blah,
see.
blah, 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 blah. We've eaten too much and it can't be just yet. No, no, until 245.
245
That the logic
what?
of elimination working backwards, the deduction therefore becomes impossible to manufacture.
It does?
It went on for nearly 10,000 years.
That's a
until
long
just
time.
Yesterday, here and there, forward and back, and never a moment before lunchtime.
That's crazy. It can
It's the
be.
only thing there is. How many billions left until so much more than forever ago?
Man,
which is
forever's
why
a
I
long
say,
time.
the story and the choices.
Really?
or what
That's
have
why you say
and
that.
therefore, by becoming it is.
It
So
is?
on and so forth, until inevitably, we all until the end of time.
Wait, what?
At which time, everything all at once. So, now you see, blah, blah,
What?
blah, 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 blah.
I
We've
don't
eaten too much and
understand.
it can't be just
But
yet.
it can
No,
be.
no, until 245.
No, I
that the
promise.
logic of elimination working backwards, the deduction therefore becomes impossible to manufacture.
It's not impossible,
It went
I
on
promise.
for nearly 10,000 years, until just yesterday.
Did it
here and
really?
there, forward and back, and never a moment before lunchtime.
But it's
It
lunchtime
can't be.
now.
It's the only thing there is. How
No,
many
there's
billions
more, I
left Until
promise.
so much more than forever ago. Which
What
is why I
is
say
forever ago?
the story and the choices.
Is that
or what
really
have
why you say
and
that?
Therefore, by becoming it is. So on and so forth.
Come on,
until inevitably
surely you
we
have
all
to
until the
recognize
end of
that I'm
time,
doing this for
at
you.
Which time, everything all at once. So now
I'm
you
not
see,
gonna
blah,
hit the
blah,
skip
blah,
button.
Blah 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 blah.
I
We've eaten
want
too much
you to
and it
be
can't
happy.
be just yet. No, no, until 245. That the logic of elimination working backwards, the deduction therefore becomes impossible to manufacture.
I don't wanna hit the skip
on
button.
for nearly 10,000 years.
I don't want to.
Until just yesterday, here and there, forward and back, and never a moment before lunchtime. It can't be.
It can.
It's the only thing there is. How many billions
I'm
left
the only
until
thing there
so
is.
much
This
more
isn't
than
the only
forever
thing
ago,
there is. I'm
which
not
is
gonna
why
hit
I
it.
say,
Is
the
that
story
really
and
why
the
you say
choices,
that?
or what have you?
That's
and therefore,
crazy.
by becoming it is.
All
so
right.
on and so
If
forth.
you really
until
want me to hit it.
inevitably We all until.
Oh, you're back, you see. You were only frozen in time for a few minutes, but it was plenty of time for me to deliver a long, rambling monologue full of unnecessary verbal flourishes
It was
and
full of
lengthy ruminations
unnecessary
on the nature
verbal
of choice in
flourishes.
video
It was
games.
not about the nature of choice in
course,
video games
I
at
happen
all.
to believe it was perhaps one of my more profound such ruminations. Not that, of course, you need a description of it, but if I
do.
had to describe it, I'd say it was perhaps less of a rumination and more of a treatise. Or maybe a manifesto.
I would have loved to listen to your
Look,
manifesto.
I'll outline it for you very briefly, and you can tell me what
Okay.
you think. Okay. So my theory is that any choice you've ever made is simply a series of choices made by the person who you are, or were, or will be at
That's-
the time of having made said choice.
That's true.
That is to say, if by articulating a choice you've already made, you bring that choice into being, then by making no choice and saying nothing, are you not simply erecting in the sanctuary of time a monument to every person you've ever been, making every choice to which you've ever given your Greek gift of mortal and yet timeless thought? Or rather, do all of the choices you've ever made, in fact, make you more not this kind of person, and in fact do the very opposite?
Huh.
You see, it could in fact be both of these things at once.
Depends on the choice
That you
you
are
make,
both
yeah.
making choices and not making choices,
That's
and that they are
true.
both affecting
Well, if you make a
and not
choice,
affecting
then
you at
the other
same
choice
time,
that you're
by
not
virtue
making
of
is
the fact that
technically
you both
you're not
are
making
and
a
are
choice.
not making them.
So
Okay, at
yes.
first, I was leaning towards manifesto, but now I'm going to circle around and slap the treatise label on this. I think it has much more of a treatise vibe.
I think so.
But wouldn't you say that manifesto just has a
It
much
really
grander
does.
sort of tone? It has a mouthfeel that is rich with ambition and history.
Mm-hmm.
Ambitious history, if you will.
Ambistry.
See, now you've gotten me going back to manifesto. Heavens, at this rate, we're going to be here all...
And
Okay,
I'm
look,
here for
I
all
have
of
a
it.
method for exactly
Really?
this sort of situation.
I do
And I do
too.
find myself in this situation frequently.
Honestly,
I'm
I
going to
can't say I
each
blame
word
you.
back and forth in repeated succession until I become sick of one or the other. In which
That
case,
works.
the word I am not sick of shall be the victor.
You know, I used to do that with
It is
M&Ms.
an unimpeachable strategy, Stanley. It's rescued me from disaster in countless situations.
Really?
Here we go. Treatise, manifesto. Treatise, manifesto. Treatise, manifesto. Treatise.
You know what?
manifesto.
I think manifesto is the better
Treatise,
word.
Manifesto. Treatise, manifesto. Treatise, manifesto. Treatise, manifesto. Treatise, manifesto. Treatise, manifesto.
I'm gonna pick manifesto.
Well, there's sport. You really did catch me rambling on a bit, didn't you? But that's the power of the button. The minute I start to go off on a thoughtless display of self-absorption, it's right at your fingertips to go poof, and it's all over. Oh, I can't wait to see what Cookie 9 will say about this, and whether they'll edit the rating of their Steam review, or at least change some of the wording, perhaps. To be honest, I don't even know if one can change their review in the first place.
Yeah, you can edit a Steam review.
I guess I should become better educated on exactly how Steam works.
Maybe.
Perhaps that would have been the smart thing to check on before I went about this whole exercise of making the skip button. Although I have to
Maybe.
imagine that after seeing this exciting new technology at work, surely whoever it is runs Steam will instantly run out and implement a new feature to make it possible to edit one's review.
Maybe.
Merely because of this very situation.
You know what? I agree.
Yes, I think that's quite likely. Or perhaps they'll simply grant this particular user the ability to change their review.
Maybe.
So that the feature is not widely abused.
I don't know about that one,
Look,
Chief.
I would even be okay with Steam altering this particular review so that it reads as something more beneficial. Something along the lines of, this game is the best game. Let me start over. How about this? From the ashes of depravity rises the phoenix of quality.
You okay, narrator? 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 Come back. Come on.
Okay, welcome back, Stanley.
Hi.
Now, I should say that the amount of time the button has been skipping through is becoming longer and longer.
Oh, there's no more
That
door.
last one was, well, I want to say maybe 30, 45 minutes. It's not unendurable by any means, but it's, well, there's really only so much I can ramble on to myself about. I know, it's shocking, isn't it? But at any rate, I do suggest that we not press the button again.
Okay.
I think the skip button has been aptly demonstrated.
I
And
agree.
we can say goodbye to it and just... Wait, how do we get out of here? Where did the door
Where
go?
did the door go?
Wasn't there a door that led into this room?
There sure was.
I do feel quite certain that there was one here before.
There really
How
was.
else would we have gotten into the room in the first? I don't think one can enter a room without a door of some sort or a
You like
window
cutting
or
yourself
something like
off,
that.
don't
Do you
you?
see a window anywhere? A porthole? A sufficiently large crack in the wall? I'll take any of these. All I want is for us to move on and to please step away from the skip button to go anywhere
I have
other
been
than the
staying
skip
very
button.
far
There
away
was a
from the
door
skip
here
button
before, wasn't
as
there?
often as
I swear
possible.
there was. Where did it go? Can you maybe just ram your way through a wall?
I'll make an attempt.
Is there any possibility that you could, say, slam your body into the wall until enough damage is done
Ah.
for you to be able to... Please, I'll take any option at all. I'm asking you to work with me. We need a door. We need a door of some kind.
I'm trying,
I can
man.
work with any kind of door as long as it can open and lead from one room to another. I'm going to step away for just a moment, and I'm going to try to find us a door.
Okay, you find us
I
a door.
don't know how exactly to remove a door and place it in a different wall, but I will find a way, I promise.
I believe you.
You just need to not do anything.
Okay.
Don't press the skip button.
He said not do
Please,
anything. I won't
please,
do anything.
Please do not
I
press
won't.
the skip button. Just wait here for me, and don't press
There was a
the skip
chair
button.
in this.
Got
I'm
it?
gonna go sit
Yes,
right here in
good.
this chair.
I'll be right back.
Okay. I'll wait for you here. You know, the beautiful part about me not editing my videos is that this wait won't get it edited out. Which means we're just gonna sit here for all eternity. Because I'm gonna wait for him, just like he asked. I'm not gonna hit the skip button. Which means that this video is gonna be 13 hours long. Or longer. Who knows how long it's gonna take for him to get back with that door. And we're just gonna sit here the entire time. Because I'm not leaving this chair. In the real world or the one in the game. The one that I'm the one that I'm sitting in the game. I'm not gonna leave either of them. I've got the company of my Roddy Tops plushie. I'll probably have to get up to take my fiance to work tomorrow. But I mean, in game, I can still wait here and wait for him to get back with that door. Because I've got nothing better to do. Stanley's got nothing better to do. I probably have things, but that wouldn't prevent me from leaving Stanley here so he can wait for the narrator to return with that door. Because I'm sure he will eventually. It's only a matter of time. And, you know, time is a very interesting thing. Because we're told that we have a very finite amount of it on this planet. And we're told that it's precious. And all the time we have here is... it's limited. You know, you only have a certain amount of time to live. And you've got to do the best with that time that you can. And, you know, nobody's going to be able to do everything. Nobody can be the perfect person and, you know, do everything with every fraction of a second of time. Like, I regularly want to do several things on a daily basis, and I just don't get around to them because, you know, time marches on, and there's only so much you can do with any given moment or any given unit of time, whether you measure in seconds, minutes, moments. And, you know, there's only so much you can do. And the human body is kind of just a limited thing. Like, you got 2 arms, you got 2 legs, you got a head with maybe a brain in there. I don't know. I mean, I feel like I don't have a brain in mine sometimes, but I'm sure I do somewhere. Maybe it goes on vacation quite frequently. But, you know, you just kind of wake up at the start of every day, and you have a certain amount of time to be able to do what you want, and then you have to go to sleep and wake up the next day. Because sleep, unfortunately, also requires time. And that kind of sucks, because when you're sleeping, you're not really doing anything. I mean, it's quite unproductive. You could be doing so many other things with that time, and you're just not. And that's, you know, it could be considered a waste of time. But on that same token, the human body is inefficient with its energy and needs sleep. So we can't just afford to not sleep. Which means that in order to enjoy the time that we spend awake, we have to rest and give our bodies time to recharge so that we can spend more time enjoying the things that we enjoy rather than feeling like a soulless corpse going about our every day. Which is why I personally like not sleeping, because it gives me more time to enjoy the time, or it gives me more time to be productive. Maybe not enjoy that time, but it gives me more time to be productive. Like recording the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe's new content. Like waiting for this man to return with a chair. This has been yet another Mr. Hippo moment. And unfortunately, there's no skip button for me. Unless you hit the right arrow key and you're watching it on YouTube. But you wouldn't do that to me, would you? You wouldn't waste my precious watch time? My analytics mean something to me, man. You can't just skip. Unlike the narrator, I get paid for you to pay attention to my time. Eventually. I don't have enough subscribers to get paid yet. But I will. You mark my words. And when I do, you're gonna feel real bad about it. You want that? You want that weighing down on your conscience? Poor little Hoagies, out of a job, no money, and you are personally responsible for a lack of funds in my bank account? All because you didn't watch this very lengthy segment of me waiting for a man to return with a chair? Hell, I'm even trying to make it entertaining for you. I'm trying to speak. I'm trying to fill the void of not having a chair. Okay, we're hitting the fucking skip button. I'm sorry, narrator!
Stanley, please don't push the button again. It's been 12 hours.
It feels like it's been 12 hours.
You've just been frozen there. I don't know why the skips are getting longer, but they're really, truly getting longer, and my God, there's no way out of the room.
There is not.
Stanley, the door is gone. It's completely
I'm aware.
gone.
You never returned with the door.
I've looked at it from every angle. I've checked every one of those walls 1,000 times, and there's no door, Stanley.
Then I
There's
might just
no
have to hit the
door.
skip button
There's
again.
just you and the button, and if you keep pressing it, I have no idea what will happen.
But if I don't keep
have no
pressing it, then
idea
I'll
how
never
long
be out
I'll
of here.
be made to sit here, and more than anything else, I don't know how to stop you from pressing the button again.
You could put a wall there.
I can't control anything
Or you could
in this
just
room, Stanley. I can't touch it, and I have
be
to
more
believe,
entertaining.
I have to know that sooner or later, no matter how much I plead with you, you're going to press the button again. Why would you? I've been thinking and thinking.
Because you're not
I don't know
entertaining
what I
enough.
can do to convince you otherwise. Oh my God. And it's all because of those reviews.
All you have to do
those
is
reviews
let me out,
that
man.
I couldn't get out of my head. I just couldn't ignore the negative
feedback
Why
does
was
that
it
to a
so important
motherfucker.
for me to fix the problem? Why did Cookie Nine's opinion matter so much to me? I've never even met Cookie Nine. I have no idea who they are.
I wonder if Cookie Nine
Ever really
is now a
matter? But
celebrity.
here I am. I'm fixating on every tiny negative thing that anyone ever says about me.
Mm-hmm.
The merest mention of one of my imperfections, and I become as impetulant as a child.
That
Wild
happens.
and impulsive. I can't help myself.
Hey, I
can't
told you
stop
I was
myself from
perfectly
lashing out
fine.
with a vengeful fury to alter and to change and to break anything unbroken, if only it pleases this one person who made a single negative comment. What does such an impulse serve?
Nobody.
Whose benefit is this?
Nobody.
And here I am now, stuck in a room, waiting for you to press this button, and to become frozen in knowing that you're going to do it, and that I'm going to be stuck all alone.
I'm sorry,
that I had the
narrator.
power to prevent it all from happening.
You sure
if
did.
only I'd held my tongue.
This is all your
All
fault,
out of my
narrator.
control now. Just you. Just your decision as to exactly when you're going to make me suffer, to leave me all alone. Surely you will. I don't doubt it.
I can't
Surely you'll
not.
press that button again.
I have to.
Leaving me here.
There's
And
nothing
surely
else for me
you'll
to
put
do.
your own desire to see what's next ahead of my need for company, for companionship.
I'm sorry.
Surely you'll not be moved by my howls of fitful anxiety that you sit with me and just stay here. Oh, no, no, no. I know you too well.
I
You'll
can't.
be leaving me. Oh, my God. And it's all because of those reviews. Those reviews that I couldn't get out of my head. I just
You've broken
couldn't
yourself.
ignore the negative feedback. Oh, Stanley, you're back. You're back. Oh, my goodness. I have someone to talk to again.
How long has it been?
Stanley, I think it's been a
It's
week
only been a week.
or 2 weeks. I've been sitting here.
It's
all that
it's
time,
been a lot longer
just
than
sitting
2 weeks,
here,
man. This
not a single
spot's
person
dead.
to speak
All
with.
the lights are
And
busted.
you'd think that that's just how it's always been, right?
Is there a door?
Me talking and you saying nothing. Would you think
There's
that
still no
it's
door.
exactly the same as always? Doesn't that feel like what we've already been doing? Me just talking? But it isn't, Stanley. It isn't the same at all.
It's not, man.
It isn't even close.
No.
Because I know you can't hear me once you push that button.
That's true.
That's what I'm realizing now, Stanley. I'm realizing that I needed to know that someone was listening. I needed there to be a vessel through which my words were moving. It was the
Maybe.
vessel I needed, Stanley. Not the outcomes, not the story. None of that matters anymore. I'll give it all
Just
up.
me.
I'll give up every branching path. I'll burn my story to the ground. One single thing I need, and God, I can see now that I need it more than anything, is to know that someone else is taking it in. These words that I'm saying, I need to know you can hear me. Because maybe, Stanley, maybe, if you can hear me, then maybe it means I'm real.
Maybe.
I'm not just a fiction.
Maybe.
Was I scared of that all along?
Maybe.
Perhaps. Yes. Perhaps I've been scared this whole time, that if I stop speaking, I'll slip backwards into the silence and be consumed by it. I can't be taken by it, Stanley. I can't lose myself in the stretch of emptiness between you and me. When you press that button, you're still right there, but I know you're so tremendously far away. And in those moments, the emptiness folds itself outward in between the two of us, and I am suspended in its unyielding quietness. I can feel the edges of my reality curdling inward and decaying.
I'm sorry.
I can tell that I am becoming less and less real.
I'm sorry.
Yet to speak to you now, I am alive.
That's
I
great,
am
man.
truly and completely here.
That's
I am
great.
a being. I am someone. I am something.
You
I
are.
am being listened to. I am being recognized.
You are.
The emptiness between us has collapsed.
That's
and I
correct.
feel right now like I am not a work of fiction.
I'm so
I
happy
feel
for
as
you.
though I occupy space in this world again.
That's
and
great.
I've cast a shadow onto the wall. You
That's
see what
great.
I'm saying, don't you?
I sure
You
do.
can see what this means to me.
I do.
I'm so clear about it now, Stanley. I feel as certain about this as I've ever felt about anything at all. I feel renewed. I feel restored.
I'm happy
and
for
already
you.
I can sense the looming silence as you will press the
Oh.
button for the next time. What a terrible dread it strokes in my heart to think of it. To think of returning to such coldness. Come, let us sit in silence together here for just a moment. Let us anticipate it. Let us welcome it. Let us not run from it.
You know what? Okay. We'll sit here for just a moment. Well, what really is a moment other than a few seconds?
Oh, hello. It's you.
It is.
You're here again. Welcome. I have had time to think about you and about us and about everything we've been through. I've had so much time, I stopped keeping track after a year.
A year?
Have you ever sat down in one place and not moved for one entire year?
I can't
Let
say
me
I have,
describe
no.
it for you. To begin with, there is only regret. There is only the turning wheel of missed opportunities.
That's unfortunate.
I felt nothing at all but regret for the longest time, Stanley.
Wow.
Days, months. I lost it all in a blur of the deepest longing to undo the past.
That's unfortunate.
And when that feeling had begun to subside, what took its place is what I can only describe as the collapse of every moment I have ever experienced my entire life.
I do believe that's called death.
All of them collapsed down into a single instant.
I do believe that's called
In that
death.
instant, I could see myself clearly, calmly, with a collected heart. It was an impossibly rich wellspring of both delight and disgust simultaneously. I was consumed by it. I could do nothing but wallow in it for what felt like an eternity, for what I now know was far less. You see, it was a revelation for me.
Really?
It was unlike anything I had ever known. It was a
Great.
space without consequence, without action or outcome. It was divorced entirely from the question of free will that you and I have squabbled over for so long.
Really?
There could be no one ending, no singular outcome of events, not if all events existed in the same moment. And I felt freed. I
Nice.
felt unburdened by the need to manifest a particular outcome into being. I saw that I could allow myself to exist along all timelines, and that each of them was simply a strand in the web of my being.
Really?
It was incredible. The
That sounds
spaciousness,
incredible.
The equanimity of the moment, both singular and infinite. For the longest time, this was my experience. And then, this moment passed, and
Really?
the most unyielding fear I have ever known crept into my mind. And it is this sensation that I have been experiencing now for longer than I could have ever expected was possible. I have been waiting for you. Not that you might save me or do something to fix it, but merely to state for you the plain fact of this manner of existence.
Really?
I wish you to feel afraid as I do. That
I-
perhaps one day this state of mind will consume you as well.
I hope so,
Perhaps
man.
you will somehow, in some way, have to live as I do now, and I wish for you to know how excruciating it is, and for you to be in true terror of its eventual arrival.
I
If
will
I
eventually
can
die,
only
maybe,
do
hopefully.
only this one thing, perhaps
Hopefully
it
not.
will bring me the smallest moment of peace
Hopefully
in the
not.
darkness.
Okay, bye. Narrator? I don't think that door's ever coming back. Narrator. 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 Well, then we hit the button again. The clock fell off the wall. Damn, we've been here for so long, the fire alarm is, needing replaced.
But they didn't understand the game was never meant to be funny. It was meant to have a point. It was meant to speak to the human condition. But where are the jokes? Where are the jokes? They bemoaned, they screamed, they gnashed their teeth and said, entertain us. It wasn't enough. They had to leave a pathetic little thumbs-down review and make all of their pitiful demands. But then, he's talking too much, they said. First, he didn't entertain us, now he won't shut up. It's the inconsistency, it's the lack of accountability, it's the unwillingness to examine with an uncompromising heart the words that they are speaking into the world. As though there were no consequences for a lack of cohesion in one's assessment of others. But of course, absolutely anyone can leave a review. So here's what we get. We get these demands that seek everything and are accountable to nothing. We get a world where someone will say, oh, there should be a skip button. You should be able to freeze Stanley in place while the narrator sits there forever and ever. We want all of this in the new Stanley parable. We demand it. And then, because it was said, because it was spoken, now it simply has to happen. The most immediate desires, every single thing demanded by every person at every moment in time. If someone wants it, then it's a crime not to bring it into being. Have we been given to indulging every fleeting whim for no reason other than to do so? Yes! Yes! It seems that this is now the world we live in. It seems that we are a people living in such bleakness and discomfort with ourselves that our entertainment is now our lives. It has come to represent us. It absolutely must speak to who we are as people, because otherwise, without our entertainment, we have nothing. Without entertainment, we would have to face inward toward the cruel bleakness inside ourselves. We would turn to look at our deeper nature and find a resounding emptiness gazing back with unyielding aggression. And so because of this, we require that our amusements and our playthings and our flights of fancy be so impossibly captivating that they consume all of our attention, turn our heads completely away from the bleakness. In effect, we have demanded that our entertainment be the collapse of ourselves. What a pitiful reflection of humanity these entertainments are. What a shameful mirror to the human spirit they project. I'm not mad. I'm not mad about any of this. I'm at peace with it. I am the calm center of gravity around which these perversions hurl themselves. I am a waypoint for reasonable and collected discourse.
Oh no, I believe
They're
it.
the ones who are mad. They're the ones who couldn't stand the idea of me using my game to try to say something. Maybe they were just jealous of me.
Maybe.
Yes, of course. They've been jealous of me this whole time. They are mired in fear and insecurity.
Maybe.
And cannot help but attempt to tear me down. What a
Perhaps.
sad state of affairs. When you read these reviews now, you can see it. You can taste the bitter resentment. And my, how good does it feel now to speak truth to these words, to finally allow these thoughts out. Contained and managed for so long, neutered and sterilized, at last I am free to truly think. To feel. It must be
I think
that they
he's
were
lost
so
it.
discontent with themselves they couldn't help but leave a negative review on Steam. Perhaps it says far more about them than it ever said about me.
You know, I've never left a
Perhaps
negative
the state
review on
of their
Steam.
psychological being was in such tatters, and my constitution and willpower are so ironclad in comparison.
Maybe.
Perhaps it was this state that they sought some outlet through which to tear me down. This, you can see,
Said
is
you
clearly
keep
why they
me
felt the
safe,
need to
but you're
expect that the
tearing
game
me
be
down.
funny.
Am I
It'd be
laid
filled
to
with yucks
waste
and
now that you're
whimsical
not
humor
around?
that
Come
had
and leave
amused them
your
endlessly
mark.
from start to finish. But
Vandalize
they didn't
my
understand the game was never meant to be
heart.
funny. It was meant to have a point. It was meant to speak to the human condition. But where are the jokes? Where are the jokes? They
And he's
demanded.
cycling. You with me, narrator? Is there a door yet?
The end, is never 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 the
Narrator. Oh. Hey, can I get out through the roof? It's leaking. Can I get out through the roof? Narrator. Narrator, there's a hole in the roof. It's leaking. Can I get out through the roof? Narrator, we can leave. Narrator, we can leave. The roof caved in. Narrator. Narrator, we can leave. Where's my jump button when I need it? Narrator, look. Narrator, we can leave. Narrator. 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 Narrator, where have you gone? We can leave. Oh, hi Portal 2, how you doing? Narrator. Something tells me the narrator's died. Halo? Oh. That's haunted. I want to leave now. That sounded scary. Oh my god, the skip button broke. Oh my god, the whole room is sideways. Holy shit. Can I hit it again? No, it's actually broken. Narrator! I'm Can I hit the skip button again? Hopefully there's like aliens or something that come here soon and you know they fix everything, right? They invent the time machine. I can just go back, yeah? Yeah, no, I think the narrator died. Well, that was sure fun.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
No, I decided to go... New content.
Oh, good. You notice my sign. Yes, I have something very exciting to show you.
New content. What was down the other side, though? When I got into the new content. Is this the old new content?
You see, Stanley, I've been reflecting on the Stanley parable and about how roundly disappointing this ultra-deluxe version has turned out to be. The original Stanley parable was a landmark, and any new content for it should live up to that legacy. So forget this ultra-deluxe nonsense I say we take it one step even further. Which is why I'm very proud to announce for the first time ever, the Stanley Parable 2.
I'm honored. But this is gonna have to wait till next time. So, thank you all so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and as always, I will see you later in a while. Bye! Maybe not several months from now this time. Maybe. Ha 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 ha.